I will chant a shloka, you can repeat after me. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Then in your book there is prayer, I don't know page number, maybe third or fourth, prayers, Shanti mantras chanted at the beginning of each class. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Invoking the grace of Lord Dakshinamurti and all the Devatas here and the blessings of Pujya Swamiji, we start our study of the text called Amritabindupanishad. Amritabindupanishad. Before going into the text proper, we will see certain background topics. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a prayer. Actually, it is a japa mantra, but also a prayer. And prayer, most of you are familiar with. And that is Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. In some schools also they chant. It's a very popular prayer. The main one is the last. Mrityoho Ma Amrutam Gamaya. Sometimes people they chant wrongly. They say Mrityo Ma Amrutam Gamaya. It is not Mrityo. Mrityo will become Sambodhana. Oh death. Please take me. So it is Mrityoho from death. Amrutam Gamaya. Gamaya means take, lead. Please lead me to immortality. Amrutam from Mrityu, death. So please take me from death to immortality. Here, death stands for, death literally means, Mrityu literally means death. But death stands for our mortality, our impermanence, associated with our helplessness, sadness, something which I do not want but I am subject to. All these things are conveyed by the word death. Also fear. Therefore we say mortally afraid. So the word mrityu is associated with all of them. All these things, fear, etc. And they are called bondage, otherwise called samsara. So mrityu conveys the idea of samsara, bondage. What is bondage? Different people have got different idea about bondage. Some people will say, Swamiji, my family responsibility is bondage. I am tied. I wanted to come to your camp, but I am bound. I am tied up with this or that. So many people think that certain responsibilities are bondage. Some people are bondage. My spouse, Swamiji, my spouse doesn't allow me to go. Bondage. So, some people, some situation, we consider them to be bondage. And then we want to be free from that. We think that this poverty is bondage. What is bondage? Bondage is something you do not want, but you find yourself with. That is what is bondage. Anything which you do not want to have, but you find yourself with that thing, that situation, that is called bondage. Like dukkha. Dukkha you do not want, but you find yourself with dukkha. It's a bondage. Fear. You don't want to be afraid, but you find yourself with fear. Bondage. So bondage is something which I do not want, but I find myself with. And as I said, generally people attribute their feeling of bound to various external situations, external people. I am bound because of this person, I am bound because of that situation, I am bound because of that object. So generally we attribute our feeling of bondage to external things, and then we try to remove them. I want to be free from them. But if we find this particular fact, that what we consider to be bondage, and we try to remove that, or when it was gone, still my feeling of being bound continues. See, when I was small, or anybody of you must have this feeling, we were expected to study, we were expected to go to the school. To us, many of us, it might have been a bondage. Oh, every day we have to get up and go and all, attend the classes. So when this study will be over? So study was looked upon as bondage. But when I completed my study, my feeling of bondage did not go away. Now I am not bound by this particular situation of study, but my feeling that I am bound continues. Why? Because now I have to go get a job. Job is a bondage. Then job will be found as a bondage. Then what? I want to get married. So then afterward marriage also will be initially we ourselves went into it. And then some people say marriage is a bondage. So my feeling of being bound doesn't go away. Even though I get rid of certain situations which I found them to be bondage, my bondage, feeling of bound continues. It means there is some fundamental bondage. If that continues, then my feeling of being bound will continue. Whether I am with particular situation or without that particular situation. You think that marriage life is bondage. Some people may think, not you. Some people may think marriage life is a bondage. Then they get rid of this divorce or they run away to Rishikesh. It is not that when they go there they are free. Marriage is not a bondage, really fundamental bondage. Or responsibility is not a fundamental bondage. Particular place is not a fundamental bondage. And since fundamental bondage is not understood and not taken care of, therefore person continues to be bound. And if fundamental bondage is removed, then wherever you are free. Because Swami used to say that he was telling an incident that some years ago there was a a state against cow slaughter, and some Swami is the vendor movement, and they went to Delhi and they were caught, arrested, and they were put into jail for maybe 1 month or something, 50 days. When they come back, you know how they are talking to other Swamis who were not gone there. बोले यहाँ भिक्षा की व्यवस्था अच्छा था. Means there was a good arrangement for food. In jail, there was a good arrangement for food. So they were not feeling, oh, we were arrested and all this. We went to another place where food arrangement was good. I am just giving a very gross example. But when a person has discovered freedom from this fundamental bondage, then wherever that person is, he or she will be free, irrespective of any happening, any situation outside. So now question is, what is that fundamental bondage? This is presented in various ways in Shastra. One way of seeing is, it is a self non-acceptance. Non-acceptance of oneself. That is a fundamental bondage. I am not acceptable to myself. Whatever I achieve, I continue to be unacceptable to myself. People outside may sometimes praise, but you yourself are not acceptable to yourself. And person is not acceptable to oneself, and therefore he will try to become somebody else. Being a bachelor, I am not acceptable to myself. Therefore what? I get married, thinking that after marriage I will be acceptable to myself. That is not so. After marriage, people will say, when are you giving good news? Means when will you have children? Especially in India, it is a big thing. And therefore, if children are not there, you feel unacceptable to yourself. And after the children come, then also my child should get admission in this school or that school. If I don't get, what type of father I am? I am not able to provide the best education to my children. Non-acceptance. I am just giving one thing. There are so many things which will make the person feel unacceptable to oneself. Self non-acceptance continues. Whatever one achieves, whatever one gets rid of, this self non-acceptance is the bondage. And because of that self non-acceptance, there is struggle to become somebody. The Swami used to say, the struggle to become somebody all the time, that is called samsara. I want to become somebody other than what I am now. So now I am a simple citizen. So I am not happy with being just a simple citizen. So I want to become a particular, member of assembly, MLA. Then MLA only. Then my supporters will go to the chief minister and tell that you make him a minister. Then chief minister. Then what? from this state to the center. And Prime Minister you become, still not enough. You want to become world leader. Prime Minister is over. Now world leader. People should ask, why they should call me? What should we do from Ukraine? The Russia war, what should we do? Then I feel yes. And only some countries are accepting, some not accepting. There is no yes. So the struggle to become somebody because of non-self-acceptance, that is samsara. And that is there, because of that alone, we have the value for approval from others. Why? What is the connection? Connection is, I do not find myself to be acceptable in my own eyes. Therefore, I want to be acceptable in the eyes of others. I am not able to see myself acceptable. At least others should tell that you are good, you are acceptable. Therefore, we are seeking approval, appreciation, admiration from others. And it is not very easy to get approval of others. People are very liberal in criticism, but very miserly in appreciation. You will see, when two people meet and talk, they may praise somebody for a minute or two. Matter is over. Criticism goes very long. You see, observe that. That is a common thing. When you are criticizing somebody, you will have so much time. Praise gets over very fast. And therefore, you are working for something which is very difficult to get. And when the world knows that you have this value for praise, then they will demand their pound of flesh. They will ask. And therefore, you have to dance according to the tune of this will of the world, people around. And you want to get approval from maximum number of people. You have this idea, what? Everybody should accept me. Everybody should approve of me. And you know what happens? When you struggle to get approval from everybody, you end up displeasing everybody. Why? Because the people to whom you are connected, they are not having the same line of thinking, same value system. Your spouse doesn't want you to come to Vedanta. And your co-students, they say, why are you not attending this class? Why are you not attending this class? Why are you not studying this? So your co-students will wish what? You should study more and more Vedanta. And your spouse says, what is this? So now you cannot please both. There is a opposite value system. And therefore what happens? Sometimes you try to please one group, then other group is dismissed. Then again you go to please that second group, then this first one is dismissed. And in the process all are dismissed. And you feel, I do so much for everybody, but everybody is unhappy with me. Nobody really values what I am doing. I do so much for everybody, but people don't have any appreciation for that. This is a common problem. Most of the people feel they are not recognized enough. Means what I am doing for the world, for my people around, they don't understand how much I am doing. So there is always a demand for appreciation, demand for this admiration, demand for approval. You tell Swamiji, I am good. You tell I am okay. And because of this demand for approval, there is a lot of manipulation. You manipulate. You have something else, you show outside because you want approval. There is anxiety, there is jealousy, there is frustration. Because you seek approval from others. Why you seek approval? Because you do not approve of yourself. We get water from outside because we don't have internal source of water. Similarly, you seek approval from others because you do not approve of yourself. So this problem of self non-acceptance is fundamental. And if we further analyze why I am not able to accept myself, it is because I find myself to be inadequate. The self-inadequacy is expressed in the form of this self-non-acceptance. And this self-inadequacy, limitation, is not centered on the body. It is centered on I. Means I have feeling I am limited, I am not sufficient, I am not adequate. And that self-inadequacy gets expressed in the form of this self-non-acceptance. And the sense of limitation does not go away by any amount of achievement I have in my life. Why? Because any achievement I have in my life is the result of some action. And any action is limited. Limited action can produce only limited result. And therefore, I who am limited attain some limited result. Limited plus limited, finite plus finite is always finite. And therefore, my struggle to be free from this sense of inadequacy doesn't go away. My struggle to be limitless doesn't go away. Whatever I attain, whatever I get rid of. Then somebody may say, if something you are not able to achieve, you give up. Many things we have given up in our life. I wanted to become a pilot, but I could not. I wanted to become a cricketer. I am just telling example. Not that I wanted to. I mean, which bowler you wanted to batsman, don't ask that. So, just example. I wanted to become somebody and I find that I am not up to it, then I drop. Similarly, can I drop my desire to be free from this inadequacy, limitation, sense of limitation? Can I be free from that? Can I give up this desire? Our answer is, it is not possible. Why? One thing, it is a natural, innate desire. Why do you say it is a natural desire? Because it is universal. Everybody wants to be free from this sense of limitation. And therefore, even if I wish, I cannot give up this desire. And another reason why I don't give up this desire of being limitless, being free from limitation, is in the moments of happiness, I have a glimpse of the wholeness. When there is moment of happiness, this subject-object division is fused, is resolved. You can see this, especially when you have very deep experience of happiness, you see. Especially in certain situations, it is very clear. You are waiting for somebody coming from abroad, and your brother, sister, husband, wife, parents, whatever, you are waiting. because that person was there for 5 years, 6 years, and you have not seen him. And nowadays it is little less because people see each other on video call and all this. That's why many times they say, Swamiji, when we meet, we don't have anything to talk. Why? Because we have already talked on phone. So, earlier days when we meet, we had so much to talk. Anyway, now also they will find out some topics. Yeah, that's not a problem. But generally it is less. Anyway, so person reading. And then you hear, you see in the display that this flight is landed, and that person comes out. And you embrace the person. When you embrace the person, that time, moment comes when you are not even thinking of that person. You embrace for maybe a minute or so, and there is so much happiness that the subject-object division is resolved. And there is experientially there is wholeness. And since you have got the glimpse of this wholeness, therefore you have some hope. You don't give up. As Pujya Swamiji used to say, once you have seen your height, you cannot settle for anything less. Once you have seen your height, that you can go up to this. In music, you can go up to a certain pitch, you can go. You have seen once. Then you will not settle for anything less. You always like to go up to that. So similarly here, in this moment of happiness, once one has got the glimpse of that wholeness, and therefore one does not give up. That glimpse is not enough to make you convinced that you are the wholeness. But glimpse is good enough to make you struggle or make you desire for that wholeness. So that glimpse does not allow you to give up the desire for the wholeness, desire for limitlessness, fullness. But the situation is really miserable because I cannot give up this desire. At the same time, I am not finding the means to fulfill this desire of adequacy, self-adequacy. In this situation, Shastra draws our attention to one possibility. And what is that possibility? Maybe this adequacy, this limitlessness, this fullness which you are seeking is not away from you. If something is there and it is not outside, then what is the possibility? It is inside. It is something like, your mobile, nowadays they can trace the object. So that object, he says it is not outside. Your tracing is indicating it is not outside. Therefore what? It has to be inside. And similarly here, this adequacy, the limitlessness, fullness, which I am seeking in my life, I have struggled to attain from all the objects outside, relationship, situations, I have not yet attained. And therefore only possibility which Shastra draws our attention to is, maybe it is not away from me. Then question would be, if something is not away from me, then how come I am missing it? If something is with me, I should not miss it. I should miss something which is outside me. How can I miss something which is with me? Then our Shastras, our Acharyas, they answer this. In life, many times it happens, something is with you, still you miss it. Which Swami used to give the example of glasses. You have kept the glasses like this, and if you forget that, then you may be missing. Even though they are with you, you miss it. Your hearing aid, you put it and you are searching for it. Possible. And therefore, something is with you, but still you can miss it. We have such experiences. And why do we miss it? because of ignorance. Something is with me, or even someone is me, still I may be missing. And we tell the story of a 10th man. The 10th boy, he himself is the 10th one. All of you know the story. But still he is missing. He is searching for the 10th one. Why? Because of the ignorance of the fact that I am the 10th one. Similarly, this Purnatvam, maybe it is your true nature, it is you, but still you are searching for it because of ignorance of what really you are. And thus, my problem of bondage is traced back to this ignorance. And when ignorance is the cause for the problem, then the knowledge is the solution. Whenever darkness is the cause for the problem, then the light is the solution. Similarly, ignorance is the problem, is the cause for problem, knowledge is the solution. And how to get the knowledge about myself? Any knowledge is by the means of knowledge. In Sanskrit, the means of knowledge is called pramanam. What is called? Pramanam. Knowledge is called prama, and the means of knowledge is called pramanam. Like if I were to see the color of this book, the page of this book, what is the means of knowledge? My eyes are the means of knowledge. The eyes backed by the mind are the means of knowledge. If I want to know the fire which is there on the mountain but not seen by me, the inference is the means of knowledge. By seeing the smoke, I can infer fire. For any knowledge, the means of knowledge is the only way to get it. Now we have got this perception as the means of knowledge, inference as the means of knowledge, but all of them will not apply for the self. Why? Because self is not an object of perception. I do not see the self. Have you ever seen yourself? You might have seen the body, but have you seen what you are calling I? In fact, sometimes we give the example of the eyes. Eye is too difficult, it is eyes. Can you see your eyes directly? Even though people may say you have beautiful eyes, big beautiful eyes. Big eyes considered to be beautiful. So, yeah. And therefore Swami Vivekananda, big eyes, so very beautiful. We have got simile also, like Kamala Netra. The Kamala means not full, the Kamala means the lotus petal. His eyes or her eyes are like petals of the lotus. So people say that you have got very beautiful eyes. Can you see your own eyes? Yes. Similarly, this Atma, the self, is not available for perception because it is the subject itself. Subject cannot be objectified. I am the subject, not subject, physics, chemistry subject. Subject means the knower. I am the subject, everything is object. Object can be objectified by the means of knowledge we are aware of, not the subject. So perception or perception based inference cannot give me the knowledge of what really I am. And therefore, since all regular means of knowledge are ruled out, then our tradition, in our culture, they talk about one more means of knowledge which is called Shabda Pramana. The means of knowledge in the form of words. Then words are of two types. One is called Laukika Shabda. Laukika Shabda means I say that there is a Murugan temple, and it is a very beautiful temple. 60 steps you climb. Each step will have the name of the Samvatsara. It's a very beautiful thing, no? That every year has got a name. Nice. Otherwise you have to say 2021, 22 like that. Here we have a name. Shubhakrut Samvatsara. Samvatsara is a name. And then you climb the steps and you reach this Murugan Vigraha. You reach the shrine of this Murugan Kalyan Subramanya Swami. Some of you might not have visited the temple. Now I gave you this description. Did you get some knowledge or not? But this knowledge is based on my words, and my words are based on what? Perception. I have seen the steps and I reveal my experience through words, and through words you get this knowledge. So that type of word, those type of words which are based on the perception and inference, they are called Laukika Shabda. The physics, chemistry textbooks are there. They are Shabda Praman. But whatever is the contents of physics, chemistry, that is based on what? Perception and inference. Science works on that. So all of them are what? Laukika Shabda. The radio news reader, he reads the news and you get some knowledge. So his words or her words are what? Laukika Shabda. Now, Laukika Shabdas means these regular words, worldly words, regular words which we are familiar with, they themselves are based on the perception and inference. Therefore, they cannot give me the knowledge of the self. Why? Because if those words can give me the knowledge of the self, whatever means of knowledge used by the source of that words, I also can use it. Therefore, this Laukika Shabda, the worldly words, they cannot give this Atma Jnana. Then there is another type of words, and that is called Vaidika Shabda. The words of Vedas. Veda means body of knowledge. Vidyate, jnayate, anena iti Veda. The body of knowledge with the help of which you know certain subject matter. And what is the certain subject matter? We call in Sanskrit Apaurushaya Vishaya. Apaurushaya Vishaya means the subject matter which is not available for human intellect independently. That is called Apaurushaya Vishaya. So, Vedyate, Jnayate, Apaurushaya Vishayaha, Anena iti Veda. Veda is that body of knowledge with the help of which you understand that subject matter which is not available for human intellect independently. Means what? What Vedas are revealing cannot be decisively figured out by your own intellect. That is little difficult for some people to accept. Vedas are revealing that subject matter which you yourself cannot figure out independently. When Vedas reveal, you can understand. But without revelation by Vedas, you cannot understand. That type of subject matter is revealed by Vedas. And these Vedas are not human creation. Therefore also they are called Apaurushaya. So word Apaurushaya has got two meanings. Vedas are Apaurushaya means Vedas are not human creation. It is not that somebody thought and wrote the poetry. Like that Vedas have come. So somebody experimented and then wrote his experiment, and that is Vedas. That's what many people think even after study of Vedanta for so many years. That is not our view, our traditional view. Vedas are not human creation, therefore it is called apaurushaya. Paurushaya means human creation. Apaurushaya means it is not a human creation. And Swamiji, how did we get Vedas? We got the Vedas from the creator of this world through certain people whom we are called rishis. So rishis are mantra drashtaraha, natu mantra kartaraha. They are not the composers of Vedas. They are the receivers of Vedas. They are the seers of the mantras of Vedas. They are not the composers. They did not compose. They thought, okay, this word is not good, another word you put. Like when you are making poem, you do that. It doesn't suit well. The chando bhanga happens, let us change. It's not like that. They received the mantra from Ishvara, from the Lord. That's what is called apaurushaya. This apaurushaya topic is very difficult for some people, especially the people of very high rationality. It is very difficult initially. But when they understand the greatness of these Vedas, perhaps they will be able to appreciate it more, that it is not a human creation. And the subject matter of Vedas is not available independently for human intellect. Alright, these Vedas are divided in different ways. One division which is very popular division is there are four Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. These four Vedas are there, based on the type of mantras. The Rig Veda is the one which predominantly contains the Rig mantra, the structured metrical verses. That is called Rig Veda. Yajur Veda is the Veda which contains predominantly Yajur mantra, the mantras in prose form, unstructured mantra, Shri, Ksham, Vyakhya, Syama, etc. So that is Yajur mantra. Sama mantras are the mantras which are set to music, Giti Yogya. And Atharva Veda contains the mantra which are predominantly seen by Atharva Rishi. Upper Angirasa also, but mainly Atharva Rishi. Therefore, it is called Atharva Veda. So, this is the division of Veda, predominantly based on the type of mantras it contains. Another division of Vedas is Karma Kanda and Gana Kanda, based on the subject matter. Earlier it was based on the structure of the mantra. Now it is based on the subject matter. So the first part of Vedas, called Veda Purva Bhaga, is Karma Kanda, dealing with certain rituals, certain meditations, certain values. All of them are dealt with in the portion called Karma Kanda, Veda Purva Bhaga. And the second one is called Vedanta. So what is Vedanta? The end portion of Vedas is called Vedanta. Vedasya Antaha Vedanta. It's a positional name. And Vedanta, the last portion of Veda, deals with the knowledge of the truth of everything. The truth of you, the world and the cause of the world. Jiva Jagat Ishvara Tattva Pratipadaka. That which reveals the truth of all three of them. That is Vedanta. Now, Veda Purva Bhaga and Vedanta, both of them deal with apaurushaya Vishaya. Means, the content of Veda Purva Bhaga and Vedanta is not scientific. Many of you must have heard our Vedas are scientific. Have you heard this? Vedas are scientific. Vedas are not scientific. Oh, sorry. I thought you will explain to us how Vedas are scientific, and you are telling Vedas are not scientific. Why Vedas should be scientific? They are independent means of knowledge. What can be figured out by eyes cannot be figured out by the ears. And because of that, eyes cannot, the ears are not small. Ears cannot figure out what eyes can reveal. Does it mean ears are small? No. So, perception, inference and perception, inference based science has its own domain, has got its own field. We don't deny that. It has got a very wide field. But Vedas, what Vedas reveal, there this science does not have independent access. If science can figure out some subject matter, then many people come and tell me, Swamiji, this science is telling now. You what Swami is telling is science is telling. What is written in Vedas, science is telling. So, if science can figure out something independently, that is not the main subject matter of Vedas. People say, Swamiji, they are doing a lot of research on the rituals, and the rituals are creating the change in the atmosphere, etc. So, Swamiji, isn't it scientific? It is not scientific. Those who say Vedas are scientific, they do not know science well, they do not know Vedas well. It is something in Malayalam they say that how is this milk? It is yellow. It is like, what is it? Anjanam. What is that in Malayalam saying is there? No? Yeah. So you do not know what is milk, what is anjanam, what is yellow. So you may make some statement that water is yellow like anjanam or something, whatever combination. Similarly, those who say that Vedas are scientific, they do not know Vedas well, they do not know science well. Because when they say Vedas are scientific and you go to the core scientists, they will say, what you are talking? All this is not scientific. So Vedas are not scientific, they need not be scientific. Why should they be scientific? Like my eyes, what they can see, eyes only can see. Why do you expect my eyes should hear also? I can see only. Similarly, Vedas have got their own domain. The other pramana cannot have entry into that. But Swamiji, we hear that in Vedas there the light, the velocity of light is given there. Say in Rigveda some mantras is there. Rigveda or somewhere some mantras is there. In Sayana Bhashya it is quoted, some shloka is quoted. Not even Shruti, some Shruti Vakyas are there. And they say the velocity of light, Swamiji. And it is very symbolically given. In fact, from Hanuman Chalisa also people say that the velocity of light is, the distance of the sun is given. So, all these people say that it is written in Vedas, what? Velocity of light is this much, is there. See, science has figured out, Vedas have already told. Then our answer is, Vedas are not meant for telling the velocity of light is this much, 300 kilometers per second. That is not the Vedas are meant for. What Vedas are meant for is this velocity of light, and light represents the sun, and the sun is glorified, and if you do the glorification prayers of the sun, you will get some punya. For that Vedas are provided. For that science is not provided. If you do this action, you will get punyam, which science will tell. In which test tube you will see this precipitation of some punya coming up and papa coming up. No. Therefore, don't have the pressure to prove that Vedas are scientific. Why should you have the pressure, oh, my Vedas are great because they are scientific? You have that pressure that, the Western world accepts only science, and therefore, if we want to be acceptable, we have to prove our Vedas to be scientific. Then only our Vedas will be accepted and we will be accepted. This slavery mentality, slave mentality, you did not. In fact, I generally tell that if Vedas are revealing something which is revealed by science, then I will better study from science. Why? Because the mantras of Vedas are very terse. The language is very terse, the development and so much symbolism. So I will struggle to understand from Vedas what is easily revealed by science. So I would better study that subject matter from science rather than Vedas. That is not the speciality. I give another example. I said when you go to Kashmir and when you are going back, you want to buy something for your family members. What will you buy? You will buy something which is specially available in Kashmir. Will you buy some Cadbury chocolate? You buy Cadbury chocolate from Kashmir and give to your son. Because son is fond of chocolate, okay, but your wife will not be happy. Your spouse will not be happy. You say, what is this? Similarly, you go to Vedas and study what? Study what is revealed by science. What is the use? In fact, you should be happy that Vedas are revealing something which is not revealed by science. That is the greatness of Vedas. You think that Vedas are scientific, therefore they are great. In fact, I will say Vedas are great because they are not scientific. That you have to change your perspective. But let me tell you one thing. Vedas are not scientific does not mean Vedas are dismissed by science. Vedas are not logical, Vedas are not illogical, they are illogical. You know the difference? Logical, illogical, illogical. Like apolitical, have you heard the word apolitical? Means not connected with the politics. Logical is that which can be proved by logic. Illogical is that which is disproved by logic. Where the content of Vedas is that which cannot be proved by logic, which cannot be disproved by logic. It is trans-logic. That is the greatness of Vedas. Whether it is Veda Purva Bhaga or it is Vedanta. So Vedanta reveals the true nature of yourself. Means they use the word consciousness, and now there is a lot of research on consciousness. In fact, some foundations are formed just to do the research on consciousness. Now consciousness is considered to be a very, what is called, a core subject, main subject to be focused on. And they keep on doing research and keep on changing their version. Not available for science. So that is what Vedas are. And these Vedas have got two parts. One is Veda Purva Bhaga, other is Vedanta. And this Vedanta is otherwise called Upanishad. What is the meaning of Upanishad? We will see in the next class. Om Purnamada